Hello YouTube, welcome to game 5 of Norsca week. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it this far. And yeah, we have a really cool, beautiful game on a beautiful map against a really talented opponent. Today we are fighting the forces of Skaven, Clan Scryer more specifically. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the builds, guys, and I'll kind of explain why I brought what I brought. So for my lord, we are taking Wolfric, and we are putting him on foot. So yeah, I really think that you have two different trains of thoughts. You could try to prepare for monstrous units like what are those, rat ogres, hell pit abominations, and altars, and go something like Throg. But then you have to deal with artillery and warplock Giselles and things like that. Or you could go with Footlord, and the only really reliable Footlord you have, besides the Marauder Chieftain or whatever his name is Wolfric, because he has a silver shield, unlike the generic version, who only has bronze. 100 armor, he has a silver shield. He's going to be a lot more survivable, and he's a pretty good combatant. He has a couple abilities that make him powerful. He has Sea Fang, the ship, the stand and fight buff, and then he also has a thing which is a debuff, which will make him attack enemy lords a little bit more powerful. So you put him on foot. I like to put him next to the Icehorn Marauders because they're like his bodyguard, and yeah, that way he can actually survive the approach, unlike Throg. And a mammoth is almost usually going to be suicidal unless you're trying to catch your opponent by surprise. For my front line, guys, we're just going cheap. We're going Marauders. But the cool thing about Norscan Marauders is they actually have like a berserk mechanic, this rage mechanic, which is going to allow them to be a little more powerful than what you would see with Von Chaos. They're going to have more leadership, physical resist, melee attack, and yeah, it's going to make these 400 units fight more like Black Orc Corsairs and things like that. So we have several units of them. I think 5 all in total with the Icehorn Marauders in their perfect vigor. We also have a little goon squad here in the back, guys. We have a unit of skin wolves, unarmored. So if you saw my last replay, you know how much of a fan I am about the skin wolves. And they have more speed. So when you take them on foot like this, or not on foot, but if you take the unarmored version of them, they're going to be able to run a little bit faster, which will get into the Skaven line a little bit more effectively. Let's go ahead and just pause it because I have some things in Vanguard. Also, we have a unit of Norscan Ice Wolves, which I love to bring in this matchup. These guys are just really powerful, excel at shutting down weapons teams. We also have the Miststalkers, which are a perfect unit for this matchup because they have stalk. So yeah, they're not going to be getting hit by artillery on the approach, which allows them to be at full health when they get into the lines. And I really like that. I think that's really powerful, and you get a lot of value out of it. For my caster, guys, we have a Fire Sorcerer. So yeah, I think Fire is one of the best lords of fire. Best lords of magic against the Skaven, just because it's a DPS heavy, lore of magic. I have Burning Head and Fireball, and since Skaven don't have healing, yeah, if I can get any fireballs off, it's good value. Also, guys, we're doing the Marauder Hunters again, so I really liked them in my Chaos match. These guys really did a lot of value for me, and I figured with their Shield Breaker trait right here, as you can see, we try these guys against like Storm Vermin and things like that. We have a secondary unit of Skin Wolves, unarmored, just here in the back, trying to stay out of the range of the Warplock Giselles. And for my really powerful elite guys, we have the Brutes of the Hound. So keep these guys in the back. Hopefully I could come around. What I'm planning to do is have these guys kind of go on a flanking maneuver, go around the side right here, and get into the juicy parts. Usually Skaven keep in the back. So that's my initial force here in Deep Vanguard, which you know the name of the game versus Skaven, guys. If you're playing Dark Elves, Norsca, anything, it's backline and harass. So we have the Beast of Tashnar. These guys are a small unit, so they're not going to suffer anti-large attacks, which is perfect against all these spear units. Yeah, a lot of times people will just keep all their spear units in the back to protect their range units, and yeah, the Beast of Tashnar can actually fight pretty long, really fast, and hopefully I can beat you thread the needle right here and get into these two weapons teams, because these guys are going to be a really big threat to my army. And last but not least, guys, we have 2 units of Marauder Horse Masters. So yeah, these are the powerful ones with the javelins, and these guys are going to be trying to shut down these bad boys right here. So Doom Flayers. Now they're not armor piercing, but Doom Flayers don't have the greatest armor in the world. Let's go ahead and look at them. 90. I mean, it's not bad. 90 armor. They'll do a little bit of damage, but yeah, these guys are just a lot more survivable, and more importantly, they're better melee combatants. So if I see an opening, I can send them into melee to shut down range. So that's my build, and my opponent brought a really cool Skaven build too. It's really relying on Doom Flayers, and I like Skaven units that are Skaven armies that are a little bit more aggressive. I don't like when opponents just do artillery and hide out. So for my opponent, guys, he has a Plague Priest right here, and his lord is of course going to be what's his name, Claw, and he has him on a Doomflayer as well. So yeah, he's gonna have Warp Lightning. He's gonna have his little rocket bound spell, and he's gonna have that anti-infantry bonus. So I'm gonna be curious how he goes against Wolfric, because Wolfric's a really good duelist, but he gets an anti-infantry bonus being on this Doomflayer. So it'd be a really cool battle. It's gonna be really interesting to see. So sorry, my hair is getting in my way. For my opponent's front line, guys, he's going pretty cheap, though. So this is the curse of Skaven. You go kind of cheap on your infantry core to afford more powerful things like Doomflayers and Teeth Breakers and things like that. Well, it means you're not going to be able to hold your front line as much. You can see here in the very front, he has Skaven Slaves. And I know the idea behind this build is just to lock things in place, do a lot of damage if you're ranged units, but yeah, I think a couple Storm Vermin, that's what I would do at least. But we're going to see how it works for my opponent, though, because this is kind of cool. He has these guys way here in the front. So he has the initial line of Skaven Slaves. Let me get back on track here. Secondary line of Clan Rats, looks like 3 of them, and then a whole bunch of spears in the back. We have the Plague Priest, as mentioned before. I don't really know all the Skaven spells, but I know that I remember seeing Warp Lightning, and I think he has the one that gives them more melee attack. I don't remember what it's called. My opponent does have the Natty Boo Ball Sharpshooters, and you can see that he has them aimed in the back now to try to deal with my backline and harass. We have the Teeth Breakers, so yeah, these guys are so cool. It's going to be really, if you could keep these guys alive, they'll do a lot of damage because they have that suppression trait which lowers things from, their speed and stuff. So if you're trying to get into these guys, they'll slow you down. And then he has 1, 2, 3 units of Doomflayers, so really powerful anti-infantry things, and they're such a small unit size, it's really hard to snipe them with, javelins and things like that. So, yeah, that's my opponent's build, guys. We'll go ahead and start it, and we'll see how it goes on this beautiful desert map. I know I've been doing a lot of snow maps. So, right off the bat, as the work van said to the couch and Netflix. I don't know if that makes sense, but we'll roll with it. We're just going to start advancing ahead here, guys. We're going to start doing a little backline harass right here. You can see I'm trying to use my Marauder Horsemasters here to try to hit these guys, trying to lure them away. I want to keep these guys occupied. I just don't want them hitting my infantry because I don't have the most powerful infantry corps. I have a lot of just Marauders, and the Marauders will be pretty sufficient for what my opponent brought, but if he starts bringing these bad boys in here, then yeah. So we're going to try to do some damage. We should be able to outpace these guys, and as you can see right here, it's not doing the most damage, but it'll start to add up. Over here you can see that my Beasts of Tashnar, they do have anti-large bonus, but we're going to start getting hit by the Teeth Breaker, so I'm instantly going to pull these guys away. And over on this side, guys, we're using my little goon squad, my Skin Wolves and my Ice Wolves here to try to, come around the side. You can see that my opponent is trying to snipe Wolfric right here, but he has that perfect shield, guys, so that silver shield is really helping him. Now, imagine if I had been on a Mammoth or something like that. He'd actually be getting shredded, so I think that's so thematic. Wolfric running ahead, taking all that ranged unit with his big shield, leading the charge. That's so cool. So now the forces are going to collide right here, guys. The Skaven Slaves are going to come to hold things in place, but yeah, we're going to be able to munch through those guys pretty quickly, and we're going to use the opening right here with the Icehorn Marauders, but unfortunately they're going to get caught up, and Wolfric is just going to come charging ahead. You can see I do thread the needle with my Beast of Tashnars. I went right, just going to slow it down here for a second. I went right between this little gap right here and then got into his Natty Boo Balls. So we're able to shut those guys down, which is a really good pick for me. And you can see the same things with these Ice Wolves right here, guys. We're just trying to keep these guys from retreating, shutting those Natty Boo Balls down, and that's going to be really good for us. And you can see we've done a lot of damage to his Doomflayers with my Marauder Horsemasters. So yeah, that's good value, guys. We're keeping them from hitting my army, and yeah, the idea is to try to crumble these Skaven Slaves as quickly as possible, as you can see, which is happening, which is going to allow me now to get into his secondary line. And his infantry force is kind of weak, so it's not going to be able to hold. He really needs to get value out of those Doomflayers. You can see that here comes, I got a Sea Fang off right on here on these Clan Rats, and Wolfric, like a true boss, is going to start charging ahead, getting into melee right here. So yeah, the floodgates are going to be collided, guys. You can see that my Skin Wolves are going to get a nice good charge right into these Teeth Breakers, charging these guys. Same with the Ice Wolves. We're getting into the back, and that's kind of the name of the game, guys. Backline harass. You just got to shut down the Skaven. You got to just kind of swarm them, and you can see that's what we're doing. I am going to get a burning head off right here, guys. It's going to do a lot of damage onto these spear units. I do believe it was overcasted, and yeah, so now some of his Doomflayers are going to get into combat, but we still have these Marauder Horsemasters, and we're doing a really good job of that. My opponent does get, I think it's a Scorch. It's one of his DPS spells off, and it does break a few units, and he is going to summon a unit of Clan Rats, guys. Looks like we're going to have another Warp Lightning right here. Or it's the rocket spell by Ikit right onto my Marauder Horsemasters, and it's doing a little bit of damage, guys. So we have a big mosh pit coming right here. You can see my Marauders are trying to get into the Natty Boo Balls. These guys were able to kind of pull away, and they're doing some damage. Just go ahead and slow it down again so we can see everything that's going on. Ikit Claw is going to get the 100 champions on him, which is lowering his armor, his melee defense, and hopefully be able to do some damage to him. And his anti-infantry, he's perfectly suited for dealing with these Marauders, but that's fine with me, guys. And you can see we've kind of just broken through all my opponent's infantry corps right here. He does have some clan rats with spears, but we have the Miststalkers, we have my Skin Wolves, we have plenty of shaft units that could deal with him. You can see he is trying to focus down my Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, so yeah, that's a really good move by my opponent. Get him shut down. He doesn't have really much of a shield chance. Over here you can see that my Marauder Horsemasters are getting kind of screened down, unfortunately. I was trying to hit the Doom Flayers, but my opponent was using some of his spear units, but seeing that these guys right here are in the back kind of exposed, I'm going to send these guys right here into melee and try to shut them down. Let's go ahead and speed it back up right here. You can see that I'm going to send Wolfric right here to get into a duel with Ikit Claw. You can see he's trying to work his way through the ranks right here. He's getting kind of caught up in his own men. And yeah, same with the Skin Wolves right here. I'm trying to use them and the Miststalkers to keep the Doom Flayers from like kind of rampaging through my lines. And you can see that the Icehorn Marauders now are going to be fighting amongst these clan rats. And yeah, we'll absolutely just win that pretty effectively. You can see my Marauder Hunters right here with their throwing axes are trying to just focus down this Plague Priest, and things are looking kind of good for us, guys. You can see my opponent is summoning more clan rats, and we were able to get my Marauder Horsemasters into his Natty Boo Balls, so we pretty much effectively shut down all his range units, and that's good. I mean, that's buying me time. You can see I'm going to use these Ice Wolves right here to get into Ikit Claw. It's going to slow him down. Same with these Skin Wolves. We're going to come into there, and here comes Wolfric. Same with a Sea Fang right here, which is going to come and just shred through all these clan rats. Really cool. You can see that Fight or Die is going to be cast, and now Ikit Claw is taking a lot of damage. Now my opponent's looking a little bit stronger here on the left side. You can see the Brutes of the Hound, though, are fighting through these clan rats, and the Brutes of the Hound will absolutely just shred through them. Slow it down one more time here. You can see that I am still getting screened out with these Marauder Horsemasters. A lot of their ammunition's being wasted on these clan rats, which is unfortunate, but he doesn't... I mean, I'd like to be shooting the Plague Priest, but I figured if I could get Ikit Claw, win on this right side, then we'll kind of fight on the left here. You can see that the Skin Wolves are dealing with the Doom Flayers. That was exactly what I was hoping for. Now, they don't have armor piercing. I mean, they do have some, but yeah, guys, they have the mass to keep these things in place, and they do have anti-large bonus. You can see we have broken the Natty Boo Ball sharpshooters now. My Marauder Horsemasters right here, and a unit of Icehorn Marauders, so that's going to free me up. The Teeth Breakers, I do believe, have broken as well. I don't see them. I might have escorted them off the map. So yeah, right now it's just Ikit Claw and his Plague Priest pretty much leading the way. You can see Ikit right here is using unlimited power, but yeah, Wolfric, the Skin Wolves, we're just putting him to Pound Town, and Ikit Claw is dropping pretty quickly, and if I can get him to break, guys, that's going to be really cool. And yeah, he does break, so now we're going to try to just escort him off the map. My opponent does have all these units routing, so I'm trying to use these Marauders right here to kind of escorting off the map, and the Skin Wolves will be chasing Ikit. You can see, yeah, I don't want him routing. If I could keep him from returning, we should be able to win this. You can see Balance of Power starting to come into my favor. Now the Miststalkers pretty much at full health right here. Unit of the Marauders and Wolf are going to start trying to deal with this last little pocket of my opponent. You can see the Plague Priest is breaking my Skin Wolves. They're getting ready to break. The Brutes of the Hound are pretty beat up as well, but we do have these Marauder Horsemasters who pretty much used all their ammunition. So yeah, we're just trying to collide onto my opponent right here. We do have the Balance of Power lead, and so as long as we don't drop the ball, we should be able to win this. You can see I'm going to get another Sea Fang. I did miss it, but yeah, we're able to just shatter these troops as well. These Marauder Horsemasters are in melee. These guys have pretty good combat stats. You can see I'm going to get another 100 champions off on him, which is lowering his melee defense. It's going to allow these Marauder Horsemasters to be able to hit him a lot more effectively, and you can see Ikit Claw does get escorted off the map, guys, so I'm going to send these Skin Wolves back. These guys do have regeneration, and yeah, that's just going to be army losses and a win for Norsca. So that, my friends, is how you deal with Skaven. And I played two Norscan versus Skaven games with this guy right here. The other, I was kind of conflicted. Which one should I bring? Or which game I should cast? This one? Or there was another one where I brought two Frost Dragons. Both were really cool, but I ultimately chose this one because I liked my opponent's build right here. So yeah, looking at some of the keys for my success, guys. Wolfric up on foot. You saw him. He was tanking all those ranged shots with his shields. He actually put a whooping to Iklet. I mean, with his 100 champions and his 490 weapon strength, he's pretty powerful. The Marauders, look at all these kills, guys. 185, 117, 115 for 400 unit troops. I mean, that is excellent, guys. Marauder for Norskins are just really good with that, that extra trait, which gives them those stats I was showing you guys. So you really don't need Marauder champions, in my opinion, to deal with many of the Skaven units. The Skin Wolves were perfect for me. They were a good counter to the Doom Flayers. Same with the backline Harass. You guys saw it. The Beast of Tashnar, the Norscan Ice Wolves were able to get into his missile lines, were able to shut down the Teeth Breakers, were able to shut down his Natty Boo Balls. And yeah, these Marauder Horsemasters, they did really good for me too. They were able to do some damage to his Doom Flayers, were able to lure him away, and were able to get these guys into combat. So pretty much everything on my roster was able to get a lot of kills. Like, nothing seems wasted right here. So I really like this build. 43 with my Shaman Sorcerer. He did get focused down by the Natty Boo Balls, but still, 43, it paid for himself. And as for my opponent, Admiral right here, I really like this build. The only critique I would have is the Doom Flare. Like, he didn't have any strong holding front line. He went really cheap on the infantry, but he was trying to make it up with the Doom Flares. But the Doom Flares were kind of off chasing these Marauder Horsemasters. So yeah, you really needed these guys into the combat line initially to try to hold things in place, which would have bought time for your Teeth Breakers and things like that to do their damage. So, alright guys, I hope you enjoyed Norsca Week Game 5. It's Atticus, and I will see you on the next one. So have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.